Have you ever stopped in a crowded place, a busy street, or a subway station, and suddenly felt reality shift? You look around and realize you aren't the main character. Every single stranger passing you is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. They have inside jokes you'll never hear, heartbreaks you'll never know. They are the stars of their own movies, and you are just an extra in the background of theirs. There is a word for this feeling: sonder. The sudden, profound understanding that every stranger around you is living a life as complex, vivid, and real as your own. Each flicker belongs to an unfathomably deep, complete existence, just as your passing car, your silhouette, your dim window light belongs to yours. This world is a spectrum of conscious experience with no center. Billions of people navigating each moment in this strange, ethereal realm we call consciousness. Today, we aren't just looking at philosophy. We are looking at the evidence that reality might not exist until you decide to look at it. Many of us operate under a simple assumption: there is one objective reality, fixed, solid, completely independent of who's looking at it. This may seem obvious, but there are compelling reasons to doubt it, to consider the possibility that reality, as we define it, might be fundamentally altered by our observation of it, not just in how it appears to us, but in what it actually is. In both ancient philosophy and modern physics, thinkers have argued that reality is far more entangled with observation than we assume. The 18th century philosopher George Berkeley took this to its extreme. He argued that observation doesn't just alter reality, it creates it. In his view, reality does not exist outside the mind. It is a product of mind. The fundamental building block of the universe isn't matter, but ideas. This view became known as subjective idealism, though Berkeley called it immaterialism. Of course, this theory faces immediate problems. If reality is made purely of mental constructs, it implies that without a conscious observer, nothing would happen. The classic riddle asks, if a tree falls in the woods and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? But under Berkeley's theory, if no one is there, the tree couldn't even fall. And yet it seems that it does. Events appear to unfold whether or not a human or animal is present to witness them. You leave an empty room and return to find it exactly as you left it. A candle lit before you walked out continues to burn, the wax melting at the expected rate, even if no eyes were watching. How could observation create reality if things clearly keep happening when we aren't looking? Perhaps our brains retroactively construct continuity, but the coordination required for that would be impossible. For Berkeley, the solution was God. Since everything is always being observed by God, existence persists even when no humans are around. For some, this is satisfying. For others, it sounds like a metaphysical detour. But what if this concept of ubiquitous observation points us toward something real, something we can explore without necessarily invoking the divine? Quantum mechanics is the branch of physics that studies reality at its most fundamental level: atoms and subatomic particles like electrons and photons. In the 1930s, a major debate emerged about the nature of reality. On one side was realism, championed by Albert Einstein. Realists argued that the universe is objective and independent of observation. The physical world, down to the tiniest particle, is deterministic and has fixed properties. This aligns with common sense. On the other side was anti-realism, championed by physicist Niels Bohr. Anti-realists claimed that particles do not have defined properties until they are measured. In this view, reality at the quantum level isn't real in a fixed sense until an observer interacts with it. This strange behavior has been demonstrated in experiments like the famous double-slit experiment. A particle acts like a wave of possibilities until it is observed, at which point it collapses into a defined state. As physicist John Archibald Wheeler put it, no phenomenon is a phenomenon until it is an observed phenomenon. The universe, at its deepest level, seems to wait for us to look before deciding what it is. In 1972, physicist John Clauser conducted an experiment using photons to test how particles interact. His results proved something deeply unsettling. He demonstrated a violation of locality, the principle that an object can only be influenced by its immediate surroundings. In 2022, Clauser, along with Anton Zeilinger and Alain Aspect, won the Nobel Prize for proving one of the wildest aspects of quantum physics: entanglement. Their work showed that measuring one particle instantly determines the state of another particle entangled with it, even if they are separated by light years. Despite the rule that nothing travels faster than light, the connection is instantaneous. These findings suggest that locality is not fundamental to our universe. The universe is not locally real. It does not operate in a fixed, deterministic way. In this regard, the anti-realists were right, and Einstein was wrong. The universe is far stranger and more interconnected than even our wildest spiritual theories imagined. So what lies at the bottom of this interconnected web? What causes particles to behave this way? Is there something more fundamental than matter and energy bridging the gap between the physical world and observed reality? Some believe the answer is information. Perhaps reality isn't purely mental, as Berkeley thought, or purely physical, as Einstein thought. Instead, perhaps reality is created by the interaction between the two. Reality is formed through the exchange of information between matter and measurement. John Archibald Wheeler called this the participatory universe. This led him to propose that reality is fundamentally information processing, no different in essence from computer code. The bedrock of existence is binary, bits of information, sets of yes or no answers. Experiments based on Wheeler's delayed choice concept have shown that a particle's behavior is defined not just by measurement, but by the choice of measurement. In other words, the question we ask reality determines the answer reality gives us. It's as if the universe is playing a game of 20 questions, but it hasn't picked an object for us to guess. Instead, by asking the questions, we force the object into existence. Wheeler coined the phrase "it from bit" to describe this. He wrote, "It from bit symbolizes the idea that every item of the physical world has at bottom an immaterial source and explanation, that what we call reality arises in the last analysis from the posing of yes-no questions. Reality doesn't just respond to observation, it emerges from it." But with these observer-centric theories, we circle back to Berkeley's problem. Who is the observer explaining the continuity of the cosmos? The falling trees, the burning candles, the swirling dust in deep space. Einstein famously asked, "Do you really believe the moon is not there when you are not looking at it?" But what if we're misunderstanding what it means to look? There's a theory about consciousness that is as controversial as it is profound: panpsychism. Panpsychism suggests that consciousness is not something that randomly emerges from complex brains. Instead, it is a fundamental feature of the universe, like mass or charge. Everything, down to the smallest particle, possesses a trace of consciousness. Consider how we acquire consciousness. It seems to come from the matter and energy in our brains. But how can matter produce a first-person experience if it doesn't contain the ingredients for it? Panpsychists argue that matter does have the ingredient. A system simply becomes more conscious as matter combines into more complex forms. Things only look unconscious to us because we're projecting our specific human version of consciousness onto the world. If consciousness is a fundamental feature of reality, what does that imply? Could there always be observation and information processing happening everywhere? What if the universe functions like a giant brain, constantly thinking, exchanging, and processing information with itself? Could this explain the observer effect? The malleability of quantum events? The instant connection of entangled particles across the galaxy? We have a habit of removing ourselves from the equation as if we're standing outside the universe looking in. But we're not. We're entangled with it. We're like neurons in the cosmic brain trying to understand what the whole brain is thinking. Of course, much of this is highly theoretical. As we drift into concepts like panpsychism and a thinking universe, We leave hard science behind and enter philosophy. We still can't even define how consciousness works in ourselves, so applying it to the entire cosmos is a massive leap. Perhaps the weirdness of quantum mechanics is just a limitation of our current knowledge, or perhaps reality really is as strange and participatory as it seems. Whatever the truth is, we may never fully know it. In this deeply interconnected reality, the events we witness and the stories we tell might be woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. Every person, every brain, every tree, every rock, every star, all of it participates in telling the story of everything. There is no separate. It is all one. Our questions, our uncertainties, even our false beliefs, they're part of reality's dialogue with itself. The universe may not have a center, but it has observers, billions of them, each one asking questions, each one collapsing possibilities into experience. And in that participation, we are not passive witnesses. We are co-creators of what is.